Please join me in lighting the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
And as the chalice is kindled, may we begin to use this time to calm our hearts, quiet our minds, and focus on the presence of being here today. Thank you. to community from many paths and with many diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you have come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. And if you come here hoping to build a new way, may the path be open before you. Good morning, my name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. I've been away for the last couple Sundays, and I feel like I need to reintroduce myself to many of you on my way in. Thank you for your patience with us. But this is the time that we gather together to find hope and find strength and find that important value that comes with community. And I pray that you find it here today, where this is a place where community opens to you, and there is hope here in this place. Thank you for being present, and that's my hope for you too. There's a number of announcements that I think are in the building. Is there anybody that needs to make an announcement that I'm not aware of? Yes, Lynn, if you would please.
Sure. Good morning. I have 3 announcements from the membership committee. The first one is that the next round of small group dinners will be formed in the next couple of weeks. So there are forms in the back on the refreshment table, and there's an orange bin. So once you fill out the form, please place it in the orange bin. Secondly, movie night. Movie night is this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Please watch the movie, it's Loving, at home. It's on Amazon Prime. And bring a dish to share and your own beverage. It's a very interesting movie. Every 3rd month, the Social Justice Committee selects the movies. And Rosemary has said that in addition to Loving, if you want to watch a documentary about the Lovings, there's one available on HBO and Tubi. Free on Tubi, okay. The third is cookbook. The membership committee is exploring the possibility of doing a cookbook. And we're interested in seeing how much support there is from the congregation. We are going to need recipes, artists to do sketches in the cookbook, as well as proofreaders. So, Marianne, there's Marianne Sinelli, raise your hand. And also Linda Klingman, who I don't see right now, and me. If you want to express your opinion one way or the other, please see one of us. Thank you.
And concerning the cookbook, anyone that needs someone to do quality control? Any other announcements in the room today? Yes, if you would please, Linda, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Linda Grady, and I have an important announcement from the Care Committee. Some good news and some bad news, I'm afraid. We'll start with the good news. Barbara Popka, as many of you probably already know, is still in the hospital in Japan after falling ill on board a cruise ship. She suffered a severe respiratory infection, and she reported this week that she's feeling better. She's on the correct medication and is off the assisted breathing. So Ed is with her, and they're looking to fly back on May 8th from Japan. So we'll be thinking of them. Janine Geisey, as I know you know, she was helping with the Care Committee for a good while. She fell and broke her wrist, and she also required sutures for a gash in her forehead and some other facial abrasions. Her neighbors are looking in on her and bringing meals. On Wednesday, she had a surgery on her wrist. So her son and daughter will be coming to help out. She would like to hear from her UU friends. So cards, emails, checks would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Other announcements? I want to welcome those of you who are guests and visitors here. If you have had the courage to come into our place, I thank you for that, and would ask that you might be able to offer us your name and where you're from, because there's probably somebody else in the room that's from there too. So I'm going to look to this side of the room, my right, your left. Is there any first or second time visitors? And if you're willing to stand and give us your name, that would be great. And in the middle section, first or second time visitors? And in my far left, your right, first or second time visitors. Well, those of you that have gotten used to this, thank you for coming. We'll continue to gather our hearts together and continue to find strength in each other and continue to find hope in each other. And welcome to this place and to this hour. It's now my pleasure to invite my friend, Reverend Dr. Neal Jones, to the pulpit. He speaks on a regular basis here. Most of you know him well. And so, Neal, if you would please, your opening words.
Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning. May I make a contribution to the cookbook as well? I microwave a mean lean cuisine. Best you've ever had. Our opening words are by Reverend Scott Taylor, who writes, "We gather in honor of the history that holds and heals us, for the stories of heroism that inspire our own, for the loved ones long gone who helped us see ourselves better, for reminders of those who paved the path before us and blessed us with advantages we did not earn on our own. These memories do not live in the past. They carve the contours of our present. They are here today. Look, listen, let them in. May their light guide our way." Please join me in singing our opening hymn, hymn number 108, "My Life Flows On, an Endless Song." Let us stand together as we're willing and able and sing together.
Now it's time when we share from our abundance. If you have food items, they can be placed on the table in the back, and they help to support the Sandalwood Food Pantry and Bluffton Self-Help, and they're collected by the little food pantry elves and delivered in that way. And it's also time for sustaining our community, where we support the work done both inside and outside of the walls of this congregation. Thank you all for your generosity.
Now is the time in our service where we share our joys and concerns. And by sharing our joys, may they be multiplied, and may we get support for sharing our concerns. Please take a stone from the basket. Give us your name and briefly share your joy or concern, and then place the stone in the cairn. Please, no announcements or political statements. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rosemary, and I just want to share a joy. We had the most fun last night. Cheryl McCarthy, I'm not sure she's here today. There she is. She and I went to Port Royal. You know where Port Royal is, right? That sweet little town over by Beaufort. Well, they had this street music festival from 6 to 8. It was terrific. There was a band from Greenville, South Carolina, I think, and rock and roll. The music was everything from Allman Brothers to ZZ Top and everything in between. It was like old hippies, young families. There were food, there were porta potties, and birds flying above. So you had everything you need. You just bring your. It's free too, no charge at all. And it was just really a lot of fun. There were a lot of young girls who were dancing and gymnastic kind of stuff in front of everybody. But they'll be doing it every other week through June 14th. So I just encourage you to try that out, because it was a great time. Like the song we were singing this morning, How Can I Keep From Singing? So we were all there singing. And also to clarify about the movie that's Wednesday night. The movie we are watching is Loving. The name is Loving. There is an HBO documentary named The Loving Story, which is on Tubi, which is free. Now, with a name like Loving, and if it's about sex and marriage, everything has got to be named Loving, so it can be kind of confusing, but looking forward to the movie on Wednesday night.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Good morning, everyone. We have a joy to share for now, but I also want to share, before I share that joy, I want to share the joy we have of having found this congregation over 2 years ago. It is the most loving community I have ever belonged to. Now, our joy for today is the fact that we were married on May 8th, 1965.
Wow.
So this Thursday, we will be celebrating 60 years of marriage. It has been a wonderful adventure for both of us, and I couldn't have asked for a better partner in life. And he gave me 2 beautiful children, 2 beautiful grandchildren. But we have our health, and we're able to still travel, to keep up with our traveling Browns, which is our email. We have to keep up with that, so we have to keep traveling. And we are going to St. Thomas for a week this Tuesday. So thanks.
I'm Tom, and I just like to say, I think I got the better part of the deal. It's been 60 years, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful, great, loving adventure. We've traveled the world, and no matter what I said, where we wanted to go, Joanne said, let's go. We went to Africa on a tent camping trip, and for weeks, and we went to Alaska. And well, that was the only place. I said, after being in Alaska for 3 months in our motorhome, I said, you know, this is really great. Why don't we stay here for a whole year? She says, well, you'll have to get your own igloo, because I'm going back where I'm from. But she's been a wonderful person, very kind, and I love her as much as I did the first day.
Good morning. Many of you are always asking me when will I be performing again, so I want to let people know I will be, and to continue with Rosemary's theme of music and singing, I will be performing this Wednesday. Unfortunately, it's in conflict with movie night, in Sun City at the Lake House Pool. It's, well, it started out as one guy and myself, but we have added another person, and he plays sax, and he is so great. So if you can make it, it's Wednesday, the Lake House Pool from 4 to 6. Bring your swimsuit, bring your dancing shoes. We got it all. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Susan Crow, and it's just so wonderful to see all your faces again. I've moved to Columbia, South Carolina. I'm going to the UU church there 3 times a month, and then I'm here 1 time a month usually. But I wanted to just share that last night the UU church in Columbia celebrated its 75th anniversary. So that church has been around a long time. But the main reason I'm telling you about it is Neal Jones is up on their wall. They did a whole chronology of their church, and I read it through, and Neal was the longest serving minister they ever had in Columbia. Did you know that, Neal?
I think they call it a sentence.
So it's kind of ironic to come down here today and there sits Neal.
Hi, excuse me, I'm Marge and this is Tim. And just to let you know, can you hear me now?
Just stuck it down my throat.
Anyway, this lady is the one that put me up to this morning. So we woke up to the fact that there's a tree branch laying on our front lawn. Not a limb this big, but it's little, but it's long. And we have no way to take care of it, to get rid of it. So I was wondering if anybody that lives in Sun City would have a chainsaw. Now, it doesn't have to be as big as Elon Musk's because the branch is only, like this. But if you could help us cut it up, we can get it to the dump in a garbage can. So anyway, that's my concern for Sunday morning.
I'll bring my chainsaw in my pickup truck.
Oh, really?
I have chainsaw. I don't have a chainsaw.
You don't have a chainsaw?
It's up north.
Go get it.
Hi, my name is Diane, and I have a joy. Actually, two joys. One is that there'll be a new installation in the Shelter Cove Park, a sculpture, and one of my poems will accompany it. So I'm really excited about that. And also, if you pick up a June copy of Low Country Living, one of my poems is going to be in there. So.
I have a joy and a sadness to share. The joy is that I have the privilege of having been invited to be the co-host of the UU House at the Chautauqua Institute. Now, all summer long. Now, I've been before, only for weeks at a time. Each week they have a different theme. It's hard to describe what the Chautauqua Institute is. It's in western part of the state of New York. It's a community of learning. It's like going back to Mayberry or college campus, where you go to lectures, classes, concerts, plays, to learn about history, politics, literature, art. It sounds like a UU camp, but it's not just for Unitarians, it's for all people, all and no denominations. But many denominations have a bed and breakfast, including the UU congregation there. And so I've been very fortunate to be invited to be a co-host of the UU house there, all summer long. Now that's my joy. My sadness is, however, I will not be able to be with you until the end of the summer, until the beginning of the fall. So I will not see you until the beginning of the fall, which I do regret. But I don't want to end on sadness. I want to end on a note of joy. And that note of joy is that tomorrow is David and Sarah's birthday. Now, his contributions to this congregation are too numerous for me to even count here. Let's just say that this ship would sink if David and Sarah were not here to get us floating. So I think it's only appropriate we sing happy birthday to you. Don't you think? Let's stand and sing happy birthday to David and Sarah.
Yeah, David.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you. Don't you look great for 97?
I will put 2 stones in the cairn for the joys and concerns that remain in your heart, and I will put 1 stone in the glass vase for all the people who have been affected by gun violence. Now would you join me in reading the affirmation aloud? It is number 488 in the back of the hymnal. Hold fast to dreams, for a clear sky, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams grow, life is a barren field, frozen with snow.
Thank you, Lynn. And as you saw during our joys and concerns, that's a classic example of how we take care of each other. Thank you for your compassion, for the time to laugh, the time to cry, and the time to offer your own chainsaw. Those are special gifts in our community, and you can't find them just anywhere. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Jones back to this pulpit in order to bring us his insights, his thoughts. And so, Neal, if you would please.
Elvira Brody, who writes for Newsweek, recalls that every spring during her childhood, her mother made what she called Easter pies. Now, she said they looked like omelets and were stuffed with fresh ricotta and Romano cheese, sliced smoked ham and hot sausage, topped with a heavy, flaky crust, and baked golden brown. Her mom learned how to make them from her mom, who brought the family recipe over from their hometown near Naples. When Elvira was little, her mom and grandma made them together. But after her grandmom died, it was just mom. Elvira says she can still picture her mom in their kitchen, pressing out the dough with her grandmother's rolling pin, her cheeks smudged with flour, her hair in disarray. For over 40 years, she made between 15 and 20 pies every spring, wrapped them in foil, and labeled them for their recipients. Now, the size of the pie you got was a measure of her affection for you. The doorbell would start ringing at noon. The first to drop by would be Uncle Nick, Aunt Carmela, and Cousin Barbara. Then all the relatives from Long Island, Queens, and Brooklyn would come by for a warm Easter pie fresh from the oven. Her mother died after open heart surgery at the age of 78, and so did the making of Easter pies. Elvira never learned how. After the funeral, she and her husband started that familiar routine that many of us are familiar with, of going through her mother's belongings, emptying her drawers, cabinets, and shelves, deciding what to keep, what to give away, what to throw out. They donated the furniture, clothes, and pots and pans to charity. They weren't expecting to discover a fortune because her mother lived on next to nothing. But they were wrong. They did discover a fortune. They opened the freezer, and there they were. Her mom had saved 2 pies, one for herself labeled with her name on it. Elvira put them in a plastic bag and rushed them home. That night, gathered with her son and daughter at the dining room table, she brought in one of the pies, steaming hot and emitting a savory aroma. She sliced a wedge for each family member, and they scraped their plates clean of crumbs. Says Elvira, I'd eat my mother's pies every spring my whole life, and they always tasted good. But now, flavored with grief, that pie somehow tasted better than it ever had. With each bite, I recalled with fresh clarity everything my mother had meant to me over the years. How she had raised me without a husband, all the while toiling as a seamstress, and especially how she lavished love and attention on her adoring grandchildren. I'd never in my life felt so grateful for anyone. Through the pies, she had expressed her love for family and friends, nourishing body and soul. Eating the pie that night felt almost sacramental, as if I could taste her spirit. After dinner, Elvira waved her family into the kitchen, opened the door to the freezer, and pointed to the back. And there it was, the last of Mom's pies, the one with her name on it. That pie has stayed back there, wrapped in foil, for 9 years now, untouched, unseen, but never forgotten. Now, some families leave insurance policies behind, or furniture, or jewelry, but Elvira Brody's mother left her family her Easter pie. That's her legacy. That pie and all the memories and meaning it represents. We have many different legacies. There's a genetic legacy. Each of us has inherited traits encoded in our DNA, such as our height, weight, skin color, eye color, hair color and texture, and or baldness, as the case may be. I once had a four-legged son named Ricky who inherited my dark eyes and whiskers. We inherit the propensity to have certain diseases, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, and cancer. As a psychologist, I'm aware that we inherit the propensity to have certain psychological conditions. Not only things like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and alcoholism, but even the propensity to have depression and anxiety. We even inherit our basic personality traits. We know this because a child's basic emotional temperament is evident even in infancy, before his or her social environment have had their turn. Longitudinal research has shown that our basic temperament remains fairly stable throughout our lifetime. From the beginning of their young lives, some babies are extroverted, sociable, outwardly focused. Some are introverted, shy, and reserved. Some are excitable, reacting strongly to whatever happens. And we tend to stay that way throughout our lives. The Genome Project has demonstrated that all of us humans share 99.9% of the same genetic traits. So, when we assert that we are more alike than different, we're not simply making a statement of faith, we're making a statement of fact. And yet, think about how many tears have been shed and how much blood has been spilled over that 1/10 of 1% of difference. So our families pass on to us a genetic legacy. They also pass on to us a cultural legacy, as do our communities, religions, schools, and institutions, and the media. Our culture patterns our way of thinking, feeling, valuing, and behavior in obvious and in subtle ways. To a large extent, our culture determines where we live, what we eat, how we earn, save, and spend money, how we relax, what makes us feel safe and fulfilled, how we measure self-esteem, success, failure, happiness, how we define family, friendship, love, health, and illness, what we believe about God, ultimate reality, life, death. Yes, these are existential questions, and that they are issues endemic to human existence at all times and places. Yet our particular way of addressing these concerns is largely provided by our culture. Now, our denomination's recent anti-racism work has impressed upon me how unconscious we are of our cultural influences. For example, in our culture, the taller a guy is, the more attractive, intelligent, competent, and successful he is deemed to be.
Do that again.
Yet, perhaps you read about the research performed at the University of North Carolina recently, which analyzed 8 years of data encompassing more than 1 million cases from the New York Police Department's controversial stop and frisk program. The researchers found that for black men, these assumptions do not apply. In fact, tall black men are more likely to be viewed as threatening than tall white men. And the taller a black man is, the more threatening he appears. These racial biases, which are carried by white and black Americans, are just a few of the thousands of ways our culture indoctrinates us without our knowledge or consent. Which is why, if we want to be self-aware, we need to engage in consciousness raising of the white supremacy which still permeates our culture even now in 2025. Believe me, brothers and sisters, it is alive and well. Culture is like the pond we swim around in. It's always there. And everyone else we know swims around the same pond. And we don't notice what makes our pond distinct from other ponds. We assume our values, our way of living life, and our way of organizing our collective life are the one right way. The natural order of things, maybe even the divine order of the universe. You usually have to visit, if not live, in another culture to start noticing the differences. For instance, our American culture is very competitive and individualistic, whereas other cultures place greater value on cooperation with others and the well-being of the group and not just the individual. Which is why I suspect that we are still the only major industrialized country in the world without universal health care. Yes. Also, our culture is extremely materialistic compared to cultures that cherish people, relationships, and community more than stuff. Also, our culture treasures accomplishment, achievement, efficiency, getting things done, more than some cultures that treasure taking the time to enjoy the present moment. In many ways, usually unconsciously, we pass on our cultural legacy to the next generation. And then, of course, we have our material legacy, which is the most popular usage of that word, which reflects our society's values. I love that bumper sticker. I sometimes see it on the back of RVs. I'm spending my children's inheritance. Now, there is a pernicious myth in our individualistic culture that teaches us. It's the myth of the self-made man and woman. That is a lie. No person is self-made. All of us, every single one of us, is the beneficiary of those who have gone before us and paved the way. Usually they're unknown and forgotten. But our ignorance and forgetfulness should not lead us to indulge in the fantasy that we did it all by ourselves. There is, dare I use this word? There is grace at work in the universe. Now, you don't have to believe in God or even be religious to acknowledge grace, to recognize that before us and beside us are encouragers, sustainers, redeemers, teachers, and guides who make the way possible and without whom we would be lost. Not only are we financially obligated to pass on this spiritual home, but we are morally obligated because we need to say thank you for the sacrifice and generosity and faith of those who came before us. Okay, so we have a genetic and a cultural and a material inheritance. We also have a spiritual legacy. The way our soul nourishes the souls that follow us. Now let me make a confession. And don't you just love it when a minister confesses? Let me make a confession to you that may sound morbid. I have to admit, I enjoy doing memorial services. I really do. Because I regard it as a sacred privilege to help a grieving family and a congregation remember and celebrate and give thanks for a life and all the ways that life has nourished our lives. Now, many religions speculate on what the life to come may be like, if there is one. Now, we don't deny that there may be an afterlife, but we choose to honor the one and only life we know for sure. Spiritual legacies are often passed on through material legacies, like Elvira Brody's mother's Easter pies. Those frozen pies wrapped in foil transmitted her mother's spirit. And eating that pie was sacramental, because the sacrament is something tangible. It becomes transparent to something sacred. You can see through it to the holy. In those frozen pies, Elvira Brody could see a mother's self-sacrifice and her love for her daughter and grandchildren. I have a similar sacrament in my possession. A book of sermons, written and autographed by Harry Emerson Fosdick, the eminent minister of the Riverside Church in New York City. Fosdick was my first introduction to liberal Christianity, and reading his books began that long slide down that slippery slope to Unitarian Universalism. Now, the person who gave me this book and a dozen of Fosdick's other books was John Ryberg, the liberal minister of the First Baptist Church of my hometown, Smithfield, North Carolina. Yes, back in those days, there were a few liberal Southern Baptists. And you've heard me speak of him before. He was something of a mentor to me. I would say even a father figure. He was my speech writing and speech making coach as I competed in national public speaking contests. But more than that, he taught me that faith without works is dead, and that individual salvation without social transformation is a dead religion that deserves to die. But his most influential spiritual legacy was his belief in me at a time in my life when I couldn't believe in myself. I can still hear his somber, mortician-like voice as though it were yesterday. Neal, you can be anything you set your mind to be. I saw in his eyes that he really believed it. And because he believed in me, I was eventually able to believe in myself. John Ryberg is one of the people in my life who saved me. Whenever I open this book of sermons, and see John Ryberg's underlinings and his handwritten notes in the margins. His spirit and the spirit of Harry Emerson Fosdick rise up within me. This book is a sacrament for me. If my house were ever to catch fire, this book is one of the first things I would try to rescue. This building is a sacrament. It's much more than brick and mortar. It's transparent to something sacred. This is where we gather each week to worship, to hold up those things of ultimate worth. This is where we dedicate and teach our children, marry the one we love, and remember our dead. This is where we gather around potlucks and book discussions and experience a community that respects us and accepts us as we are, without requiring us to believe things we can't believe. This is where we search for truth and meaning on our terms, in a way that's relevant and that makes sense. This is where we affirm the awe and wonder of our lives and of life itself, without trying to reduce that mystery to canned creeds and bland dogmas. This is where we affirm the dignity and worth of every person in the midst of a culture that tries to reduce our value to dollars and cents. This is where we recognize the interdependent web of existence in a world that tries to separate us from each other and from nature. This place is a sacrament that we want to preserve and pass on to the next generation so it can nourish their souls as much as it has nourished ours. And so the question for each of us is, what kind of pies will you and I leave behind in the freezer? Amen.
Consider the words that have been offered to us as gifts and as grace. The music that's before us. If you would, please take your hymnals in your hands. Turn with me, if you will, to hymn number 131, and maybe stand and sing together. Love will guide us. Stand if you're able and will. Jones for giving us that sense of wonder and awe and sacrament here in this place and find ourselves on grace grounds. Dr. Jones, you have your final remarks.
Our closing words come from Reverend Kiama Raymond, who writes, "Now is the time to call on the memories of our ancestors who thought they could not walk another step toward freedom, and yet they did. It's time to make them proud and show them and ourselves what we're made of. Did you not know that we'd have to change places? It's that time and that place to know that it's our turn, that we must leave a legacy for our children and all children. We are the ones we've been waiting for."
Please stand as you're willing and able and join me in extinguishing the chalice. Words are in your order of service. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
Check, 1, 2, check.
He's the Pope.
I know. Once again, I'm going, what happened to Ellen?
She's working today.
No, I said David and Sarah. I said, where's Ellen? Every time I hear David and Sarah, I think of David and
Sarah, yeah. That's funny.
For the longest time, I thought that's who she was.
64 years of that.